welcome. This is part 9 of 32 of my NFL ranking series, and for this one we have the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions finished last year at 3 wins, but honestly they were really close to winning more games than that. I think they had like the they were fourth best at covering the spread when they only had 3 wins. So this was a team that put up a lot of fight in a lot of games, and I think caught a lot of people off guard. They had so many close games. They had like one game where they lost to. There's one game where they lost to an NFL record-breaking field goal. There's another game they lose basically on the last play. I mean, they had a lot of close games this year, and they caught a lot of people off guard. And I think potentially that this upcoming year they're going to be able to take the next step. Like I said, when it comes to their play last year, they only won 3 games, but they had a lot of close games, and it feels like almost every other game they were right there to win it, and then just something wouldn't end up going their way. Like I said, against Baltimore they had the 1 kick, and then like Minnesota they lost by only 2. Cleveland they lose by another field goal. Chicago they lose by 2. They tied against Pittsburgh. I mean, this team played like really hard and they fought hard in a lot of games. It's just for whatever reason they just didn't win the games and they just couldn't find a way. Just looking into what's going to happen this year, I mean, honestly, I could see them taking a step up and potentially winning about 7 games here. I mean, them being the Lions, I could obviously something could bad happen like it does almost every year, and they could end up with another 3 wins, but it's just something feels a little bit different about them this year, and there's like potential that they might actually be able to take the next step forward and actually be able to do somewhat well. I mean, for example, they could potentially split against the Vikings this year. I know the Vikings are pretty good, but honestly, the Lions do have some good names now. I think they have the most expensive offense in the NFL, which is crazy to think about. And then I could see them for sure. They're going to split against Chicago. I feel like they could probably beat. I feel like they're better than both the New York teams. It's going to all come down to basically how good can they play and can they actually close out games. I mean, there was a lot of games they played from behind last year and ended up making a close comeback, but the biggest thing is they just need to be managed as a football team a little bit better. Because if you look at their depth chart, I mean, DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams, Jared Goff, TJ Hawkinson, Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, I mean, when you look, their wide receiver core is definitely where they need the help. But Amon-Ra St. Brown is looking to take another step forward this year. Looking at some of their other players, I mean, DJ Chark's a good placement for now. But, I mean, between they have Jared Goff is an all-right quarterback. They have pretty good running back with DeAndre Swift, and then they have an all-right receiving core. It could be definitely a little bit better, but, I mean, that's basically... It's going to come down to how good can their receiving core play this year. And then if you look at their defense, they got Aiden Hutchinson, number 1 overall, and Michael Brockers, Tracy Walker. I mean, Jeff Okudah, if he comes back healthy. I mean, this is the starts of a look at a team that is on the step upwards for sure. It's just can they actually take that step forward? Because, I mean, like I said, if you look at their games last year, they easily could have won a few more games and actually been like a 7-8 win team. It's just they couldn't close it out. And now this year they've rounded out some positions well. Somewhere where they definitely are going to need help is the receiving core. But between Amon-Ra St. Brown and then DeAndre Swift out of the backfield, maybe even TJ Hawkinson, and with DJ Chark, that's all right enough that they could get things done. If they could, I'm not saying they could or they're going to do this, but if they got a big name receiver like Odell or something, that would be almost one of the pieces they need to take themselves over the top. But I don't think he's going to go there, obviously. But I mean, with what they got, they should be able to do a little bit. And now looking back at their schedule after looking at that, I mean, there is potential that this team could actually find a way to pull together a few wins that they weren't able to pull out last year. And I mean, look at their schedule. Their schedule isn't too terrible. They play a few softer teams. I mean, the hardest teams I would say they play is probably Minnesota, New England, Dallas, Green Bay, Buffalo. And then it's just other than that, they have a little bit of a softer schedule. So they Seattle this year, that they probably should beat them, I would say, with just based on talent alone. I think they're better than both of the New York teams. But it's basically just going to come down to what can head coach do. It's basically going to come down to the coaching staff and if they can find ways to execute, and then if Jared Goff can be good enough to basically put this team in places to win. So when it comes to the Lions and what they're going to do this year, I mean, I think they're going to be a little bit better than next year. I think they could potentially double their win total and get about 6 to 7 wins. But yet again, they're going to be basically finished in this like mid 20 pack of teams where it's just they just end up getting lost a little bit on the outside and just need to do a little bit more to get ahead. Their offense being the most expensive offense in the league, I feel like might be a problem. Might catch up to them soon. But if you compare teams like, for example, like the Rams offense against this offense, the fact that this is the most expensive offense, I know it's basically off of Jared Goff's contract, but I mean, they're going to need to. It's just hard for them to be the most expensive offense, and then they still have like a few holes on offense they need to fill out. I mean, they're definitely taking steps in the right direction now with the new management and the new head coach and everything, but they just need to just basically do a little bit more to take a few more steps in the right direction because, yet again, they still are the Lions and they still have been struggling in years past, but this could potentially be a good season for them. It might actually potentially give some Lions fans hopes in the future.